Welcome back to another video. So believe me when I say this, that there are people or guests out there who have been using Airbnbs through different countries, and what they do is, because they've got set expectations, comparing, you know, the great experience, the bad experience, the good experience, the worst experience in Airbnb. In this video, I'm going to talk about 5 hosting mistakes that Airbnb owners or service accommodation owners make that end up giving them a bad review for their units. So remember, one thing, what we need to make sure is when we're setting up service accommodation, it's not just to host clients, give them accommodation and that's it. We're trying to build here a service accommodation business. All of this, what I'm going to share today, is actually something that I've gone through myself in my early days. I've made those mistakes, I've learned from it quickly and realised that this is something that a lot of service accommodation owners are making. So let's crack on with a few of the things that, the 5 things really that I personally think that always makes guests either not happy and end up giving you some bad reviews. So number 1 is inaccurate listing. So it probably says it itself, guys. It's so important that whatever you're providing, the locations, the photos and everything should exactly be in your listing that you're going to provide them as an apartment or the accommodation. And if that's not the case, when client turns up, they will be completely not happy, and they will raise a massive complaint against your listings. The second one is communication with your guests. So communications with all clients, booking your service apartment or service accommodation and choosing you over the hotels. The important part is, these clients will expect you to give them as much as detail in the simplest form to make their life easier, from check-in if they've got a self-check-in process, those, where do they park, how do they locate the apartment. So every little bit of communication isn't in place, and clients are then either calling you or emailing you, and you've got busy throughout the day and not been able to answer those questions, they will not be happy and they will 100% leave you a very bad review. So very important is the communication part of service accommodation, especially when the guests are checking in. Number 3, potentially my favourite and my least favourite, is instant problem solving. So remember, this guest who've paid you to stay either in your apartment for 2 nights, 5 nights, weeks, months, what they are always looking for and what they've got generally is the paid for service, and hence they need to have this problem solved right now. Now that could be a boiler gone down and they expect you to turn up in the next half an hour and get it all fixed. So guys, this is very important. Believe me when I say you've got to have a clear communication, but also at the same time, those problems need to be solved in a good manner and a good time frame, so that you need to make sure that, if it's not you who'll be able to solve, who can solve it, and the communication that you need to provide to make sure that the client the problem is solved. That's probably the most, I think, very important part of guest stay, and if you can do this, you will not get a bad review. But I've seen many times that service accommodation owners are either very slow, or even myself in my early days, I was very slow to get it fixed, or I was trying to reach out to people and not communicating that to the guest, which means then automatically guests are thinking that you're not working on it. So guys, very important that you've got instant problem solving in your place for service accommodation business. A lot of time, this is my number 4, and I think I've really mastered this over the years to come, is pre-guest arrival support. So I am very massive fan of actually speaking to my clients, purely the fact that they will hear from you. They'll be, that it's not as personal, but it's good enough to give them a hello, be invited to our accommodation, and also really understand your client and why they're staying, so that, if you've got if they're a business traveller working in a local business, or offices, then you would know why they're arriving, and if that's the case, if there's any other colleagues and stuff that they're going to come down, we'll also give you more business at a later date. So definitely, I've always been very active in pre-arrival support, and that's to say to them, look, hi, this is Piers, look, you're staying in one of our apartments, you have a great stay. If you need anything, this is my number. So what you're doing is you're giving them that support, even though they might not need it. You're giving that enough support prior to their arrival, and that will really help them enjoy their stay, and hopefully and actually give you a great reviews. This is number 5, and probably again very important, or probably the most important from a client and a guest perspective, is spot on clean accommodation. Right? And one of the reasons why guests will give you bad review is they've gone into the accommodation and it's not as clean as they think it would be. So very in a simple way to explain this is, it's not you, it's your housekeeping team. It's very important that you suggest that your housekeeping team are, always making sure they're putting details into their clean. So it's just not the normal clean, it's making sure that the standard of clean is detail. They're making sure, all the bathrooms, all the hallway, the kitchen, the cups and plates are put into places. And if you can provide that as a clean apartment, automatically your guests are going to enjoy it a lot better, and they will give you a good review. But if not, that's one of the massive reasons a lot of Airbnb and service accommodation owners get bad review, and that's not them. They're actually their cleaning team or the housekeeping team who actually has not completed their job properly, and you will end up getting a bad review. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video on why 5 reasons why Airbnb hosts or service accommodation owners will actually get a bad review. I've been a massive fan on really kind of implementing this and making sure that none of these reasons will actually get me a bad review. And my investors, my online training program, I always make sure that these are the things that always point out to them, so that when they start their service accommodation journey, they look at these details as closely as possible. Thank you so much for watching. I've got so much other videos that I've done. Please go check it out. Give this video a massive like. Subscribe to this channel, and I will be posting more and more video around service accommodation business. And yeah, stay safe. Thank you so much for watching.